Okay, well, my first DSG build has been nothing but hell. And I don't mean that from my abilities, it's more of everything not coming together and having to do too much work is just really, I've put probably about 60 hours into this, and it's just crazy. I know what I'm doing. The problem is too many parts are not to spec. I'm going to kind of show you that I know what the hell I'm doing, because people all keep saying you don't know what you're doing no matter where I go in the forums, especially airsoft mechanics. So we'll go right to that video right now.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry, Mom.
1, 2, 5, 9, 14.
Nothing is even warm. Okay, so that's safety. Definitely can't shoot. Semi right here. Can't do it very well from there. Just confirming it works. Checking heat. We're all set. Good little test. Okay, and we're back from the video. Now here's kind of to show what is going on. I know what is going on. First off, the gun cannot shoot in the external body, and I'm going to show why not. But before we get to that, I'm going to show the extensive work I've had to do on this RAISER. And I would say this is a lot easier if you are not using this type of gun, I guess. It's a G&G metal GR16. I started using parts from G&G, and I've just been going through hell, basically. Here's the gearbox. We've got Modify ceramic 8mm, epoxied in. We've also have the other side of the shell over there. Here is the spring guide with an M170 by SHS, and you can see this is a garter spring guide. It is very beefy. It used to be gray instead of silver, but it has been dremeled and sanded to make this spring go on, because before the spring would go only to here, and so yeah, now it does. And it barely moves without. I mean, you can hear the grinding still as it does, but this does work, so no problem. Both sides are not binding, and double checked, triple checked. It doesn't matter. Quadruple checked. Yes, I know what I'm talking about. So I've got the trigger over here. Trigger's fine. I bent the spring a little bit so that it would fit in here and make it easy to install. We already know that. I know what I'm doing with that, so we don't need to talk about that. The only real modification I did to this to make it really nice on the trigger, if we look in the back here of the trolley, see if we can get a really good shot of this. There is an L shape that is epoxied on in black, and so yeah, and then there was some shaving done to make sure that this cutoff goes underneath it. They're both angled properly, so the semi is working perfectly, and it is very short pull. You can see that right here. It's a very light pull, especially because the spring has been bent perfectly so that it doesn't become very hard to move. I'm not going to attempt, because I'm very positive I don't need to. I like the trigger pull already. I'm not going to bend these contacts. I think everything is perfect there. Even in the video it shows everything is perfect. And the cutoff has been grinded because it would come up It does still come up a little bit. You can see that there. That has nothing to do with the issue that's going on now. Okay, so let's start going with the hell first. First we had a G&G body and a G&G gearbox, and in that gearbox the bevel gear could not fit properly no matter what shimming was done with the motor. The pinion would come in and it would just pull the thing up so high. You couldn't put shims underneath it even if you didn't want to. The problem was it would grind into the top of the gearbox shell from this side, this gearbox shell on the top, not this one right here, the other side, the right side. This is the left side. So it would grind, and no matter what shimming was done, of course, like I revealed, that there just was not any room. Upon purchasing this gearbox shell, there is room, and so no problem shimming all three of these gears, just like you saw in the video with the gear break in. I did have to do some drummeling. I think on the other gearbox shell I do some drummeling for the cutoff, or excuse me, the anti-bristle latch, so it would actually do this properly and very easily and make the chain noise. But moving on, other things that I had to do this gearbox, I had to Dremel out this slightly, this hole right here, and this hole right, shoot, I can't remember, I think it's this one right here, just slightly enough so that the pins would go in properly. I did try multiple times, each one separately, and the pins were not going in. After that, it's able to install fine, goes down in there. Let's see here. Basically everything is set up the way this is wired. This goes to the back. This is to the MOSFET, which is an MRF MOSFET 3.2. Where is the wiring at? Right here. You can see what I did was I made the wiring very nice setup by cutting it there, leaving it locked in position, and heat shrinking it so this is soldered together right here. Makes it very short wire. It gives plenty of room in the gearbox. Don't have to worry about wiring stuff. You can see the ends. I had to go to the GMP connector. I don't even want to think what the names are anymore. I forget. Everything's soldered beans there too. So there's some black on here. You can see that motor really spins nasty and makes dirt quick. That is dirt. That is not any of the wiring issues. And that is silver wire, of course, you can see. Okay. Anything else I had to do here? Let's see, I had to work on the piston. Where is that thing? It's over here. Took me a very long time to do, simply because the teeth, this is a carbon steel, and yeah, the dremeling on this was a pain in the ass. So I've got it dremeled, and I've checked it multiple times. I've done so many different tests with that. Okay, we know that's not a problem. So we go on to what I had to do for the tap-up plate. Oh, God. Yeah, there's just more list of things that I had to do. You can see I already shaved some space because the tap-up plate would get a little stiff, and now it doesn't for the bore-up kit over here. Shoot, anything else I really had to do here? I can keep going on. I had to radius, even though I didn't want to do any extra dremeling work because I've done too much in this whole project. I had to dremel here and on the other shell too, because simply you cannot fit the cylinder head in here. It will not close properly. So basically I radiused that, even though I didn't even mean to. It just happened to be that way. So that now the cylinder sits flush from end to end. Okay, so what else was an issue here? There was a lot more. I just can't think off the top of my head. Good things that happened. This is a King Arms. I love this trigger contact set, and this is a speed trigger. They go together really well. They fit very well. Didn't have to do any modifications to this. Didn't have to do any real modifications to this. Basically, the only modifications was to shaving the back arm a little bit so that the cutoff could fall under it and properly every time. So it would always shoot semi. And then on the back, there was that black L shape that I was talking about that is there. And the reason that is on there is to push the trigger trolley a little bit more forward. Allows it to start at that distance. On the speed trigger here, there is a hex screw that allows it to start at a certain distance forward. That distance has already been preset. It's perfect, so there's no messing with that. Basically, that's just loose enough too. You want barely, so that it can fall back under the trolley and grab it. I mean, everything's working there. Okay, so what else do we have issues with? We had a lot of issues with the body over here. My God, did we have issues with the body. This could not fit on properly. You had to do some Dremel work over here so that the magazine could get in. We can see it's a little tight fit. So that's in. The magazines do lock. This was a pain in the ass, even though that's over here. Even though that did fit, no problem. This did fit, no problem. So it would lock into place, but however, the front of this would actually pop over here and not work anymore. So what I did in a real smart attempt was applied some tape around it. You can see that, and what that does is it makes it so it can't move like this, and which was exactly what I was doing. And so when you pull it, it only does this motion, which is perfect. So that stops happening. So basically, there is some dremeling done to the body. Let's see if we can kind of show this here. Yeah, there's some dremeling right there. There's some on this side. The grip. Oh shoot, that is not cool. I was trying to grab it. My hands are really greasy. Shit, I didn't mean to drop that. Okay, so here's the grip. We can see I had to do some Dremel work over here. I let more than enough spacing. What else do we have to do here? There was work that had to be done for this. This goes to the back, so we could put the stock. This had to be modified to get on there. Oh God, the wiring had to be made. Where's the wiring at? The wiring's over here. Got the LiPo, and here is the wiring to the MOSFET. Okay. Alright, I think that's pretty much, I mean, that's not every issue that I had to deal with, but that's pretty much all that I can remember for now. Okay? Alright, let's go on to the direct issue now, which means I'm probably going to have to purchase a new external body. Alright, so let's pull this up and show what is wrong. When the gearbox gets into the external body, all you hear is or doo, which means that the motor height adjustment is not where I want it to be. The doo is the motor is not reaching the gear. And simply, we're going to show why not. Several times I was wondering how this was happening, simply because I assumed you could just put any of these grips on, and this grip, which I was using normally, and it should be at the same motor height adjustment, but however that is incorrect. As you can see here, I have blackened this because the distance is not the same. So basically, to sum this up, what happens is I've started a new test, which is actually pretty brilliant, so I can show you exactly what is wrong. So this is not coming down far enough, the gearbox, or you could say this isn't carved enough so the pistol grip can come up. So basically, if I put this in here now, with as high as it will go, this is the highest it will go. And even if I remove the spring, the screw here to the motor plate is actually going to fall out. So if I go ahead and put this on here, we're going to see exactly what I was talking about. Alright, so let's go ahead and zoom in here, see if we can get a really good position on that gear shaft. Excuse me, the pinion. Might have to pull out the flashlight, but basically right here you can see the pinion. Now this angle is kind of hard to tell you. It is not even close. Let's see if I can get a little bit better angle on it. I don't think it's going to happen here. What you need is a flashlight. See if I can see it. Maybe I can show it on camera. God. Basically, you got to get really up in there to see it. What I'm trying to show you, and it's kind of hard to see, is the gear is still not correctly motor height adjusted. And this is why the pinion before was doing this, because it's not on the gear. This happened after I put it in the body. Only after I put it in the body, and then I switched the pinion, only to find that the same thing happened. And that's when I started to get suspicious. You can see where it started to happen again. And I tried to adjust it as high as possible, but you couldn't go any higher because that gray area is actually the bottom of the bevel gear. So you're pretty much screwed on doing this. The body is just going to have to be changed out. Alright, so here is a better angle to show what is going on. Right there is the bevel gear, and right here is the pinion gear. So soon as you can see me closing it from this angle, no pinion touching, no pinion touching. See, look at that. Pinion is not even touching. You can see it. So as you close it, it is barely touching the tip. And you can't really see that from this angle how far away it is. It is really far away from the bevel gear, so that just makes this body useless. I'm just gonna have to get another body. I did try to put a fake bolt in the body. It's over here. That is more of the work I had done with this gun. So there is some dremeling here to try to make room for the fake bolt. It was a little too, in my opinion, it was a little too thin, so I decided to just stop. And it was messing up the cylinder. It was scratching it, the fake bolt, so I just decided not to. I had broken off the piece that I already had made to make the fake bolt work so that we'd have a really nice functioning charging handle. However, the body doesn't really give the room for it. The rest of this build is a Prometheus metal hop-up right here, and the Prometheus barrel in here, as you can see. And then there is a Prometheus bucking. And people are going to say, well, why don't you have R-hop? Right now I'm not worrying about that. I just want everything else to be working fine before I do any other modifications. So the real issue is the fact of not being able to get this gearbox working because of this. So simply, there's just going to have to be a new external body. I don't see other than I would take this out and put in between it some kind of spring to help push up the motor, and I really don't want to mess with that. I don't think that's a smart decision to have to do more modifications to make this work. So we're just going to go ahead and probably change the body. That is just probably the best option. I'm going to get away from G&G because I've had nothing but issues with trying to do this build. I'm going to probably look at a GMP body, and I think that's pretty much it. I did have, oh god, I did have a GMP dust cover, it wouldn't fit completely. I already knew it wasn't going to. I was going to put it on there just so I could have the functioning bolt in here that would open the dust cover. Couldn't, so I left the dust cover open, and then the fake bolt wouldn't work, so I just decided, the hell with that, and I removed everything. Went back to what it was. So this build has been hell, basically, forward. There's some other stuff, but I can't remember. So, I'm out for now. Got to get a new body. Tell me what you guys think. Give me a comment. And please don't say I'm stupid. Please don't say anything else, because you can already tell I will be pissed off and just block you. Out.